Your dreams require you to think beyond your own capabilities. I would say like 90% of the time, I'm not dreaming big enough. Maintaining and keeping up the standards of being so miserable when you go to work, when you wake up, questioning, what am I doing? Being able to neglect certain thoughts. That's a lot. It's exhausting. What I would say to you is that you need to use that as fuel. You have to step into a new way of living. You have to step into shoes that you've never worn before. If you think about it that way, you don't give yourself to be ready. I feel like growing up, there has been a lot of examples of where I didn't want to go, how I didn't want to react. Rules and regulations and almost just like a robotic system. It makes your dreams feel impossible, correct? And those creative solutions are the things and the ideas that will make you go from mediocre to fucking excellent. What you're thinking about, what you're dreaming about is real. One of my favorite things about myself is that I love how ambitious I am and that I can be, depending on the season and what it calls for. I feel like one of the things that a lot of people respect me for is the way I perceive my dreams. You know, not even the dream itself, but it's how I perceive the journey on the way there, knowing that there will be sacrifices, there will be tough moments, there will be mistakes, but then even just dealing with holding your success and holding the moments and decisions that will lead up to an outcome. I believe there is levels to this shit. Dreaming big. I've hit a stage where sometimes the question of, am I dreaming big enough, floats into my head. When that does appear, I don't take that lightly. I would say like 90% of the time, I'm not dreaming big enough. And that requires me to come back to myself and honestly just review what's going on right now. Remind myself what are the intentions and what are we working towards? A situation, an environment, a feeling. It says a lot about my standards. Bro, I've changed everything in terms of the way I think towards goals and just going above and beyond. And every time that happens, it really makes me reflect back on what it took to get to this position, what it took to bring me to new problems, problems that honestly I do prefer. It's so crazy that I reflect back and I think about the environments that I grew up in, and then I was having certain type of issues that I had to, face. And then thinking about how life is right now, it's all different. I never knew I would never have the problem of feeling so groggy in the morning anymore. It's just the small things like that that do influence my ability and my capacity to honestly think bigger, because physically I'm able to get out of bed and just do shit. Before I get into my rambling, I do want to give out a shout out, credits to my father who honestly opened up that part of me that made me think about it. And then in my own time, I investigated that and I experimented with that. And I rediscovered that part of me that is very ambitious, that does dream big, so much imagination and creativity to be able to unfold. And sometimes for change to occur, it's something as simple as having a conversation with someone that can really push you into directions and decisions that are more supportive of yourself. When it comes to dreaming big, I feel like something that is so important, even before you start taking action, it's like almost preparing your mind. It's acknowledging the fact that wherever you want to go, whoever you want to be, in order to take that journey, take the steps to go there, you have to step into a new way of living. You have to step into shoes that you've never worn before. That looks like being more of something or being less of this. It will require you to change up your environment, take yourself out of something, put yourself somewhere else. Stop talking to these people, talk more to those people. Stop reacting, reply more. When you acknowledge this, you will understand that, well, in my opinion, it is possible. Yes, it's hard to change many things, or even if it's one thing, that might be your biggest obstacle. When you do overcome, the relief is there. That makes me think back to the idea of when you have certain ideas, like something out of your wildest imagination, it's not there by accident. It wouldn't exist for you if your God, your universe, or honestly, the capacity of your brain wouldn't be able to produce that. It may sound crazy now if you are at the lowest low of your entire life, but like, why would you think of that? Honestly, why would it come up in the moment where everything feels like hell? It's because you can become that. It's just a matter of what do you need to do to step into that. The life I get to live now is a life that I asked for. It's a life beyond a life of my family. I feel like growing up, there has been a lot of examples of where I didn't want to go, how I didn't want to react, how I don't want to become you. I didn't know it at the time, but that was fuel. That was honestly just like being saved up within me until I tapped into that. I have seen so many lives of places and traits that I don't want for myself. I prefer not. I prefer not to do that, be that. Unfortunately, I was a little bit of that because the environment I grew up in. It really was fuel to push me into a life that is more of my preference because I followed that feeling. And it wasn't an instant thing. Of course not. This was a matter of listening and not listening and following and then not following and falling off completely, but finding myself again back onto the path of least resistance and back on the path of what actually feels right. After sometimes having to put myself in a position of, do I really want this? And these are situations where it's like, it's not good. But I had to like do it again to show myself, unfortunately, that this is not for me. With these traits that you need to embody, for my example, I needed to have more audacity with what I wanted to do. Having audacity allowed me to reach out more because I needed to do that. It allowed me to think bigger. Honestly, it forced me to think bigger because the smaller I thought, that's what I received. I wasn't looking for that. And something that I had picked up is that when you were striving to embody a trait of yours, it's nothing new. It sounds crazy. Coming from a shy person, I never knew I would come back to YouTube and be talking to a camera like this. This does take a different type of confidence. It does take a different type of firmness in me. If someone doesn't agree with me, I can sit here and say, I will die on this fucking hill for what I said. It was just a matter of, I need to step into this because it's what is needed to reach the next level. Life is a game, life is a game. Most humans on this earth don't give themselves the chance. And that is so valid on why you haven't, so many circumstances, the environments that you're in. We always believe that we will be given the chance to shine and be confident finally. And, maybe I get to like be creative in this space, but you're just waiting for it to be given to you, which it could eventually, but you don't know when eventually could happen. If it could happen. There is power within deciding for yourself that if I can't find this here, I will look somewhere else. So to that, you need to give these traits, these behaviors that are inherently supportive and good for you a chance. You need to show yourself if it's good for you or not. Because the only way you can find out is to put yourself in those shoes. Have a will to find out. Because you'd never know. You can do all this. You can say like, I think it's good. Or I don't think that's good. And listen, I'm also the same person who said that, didn't do the thing that was good, did the inherently bad thing. Bitch, it was still bad for me. So then we went back to the good thing. So if I were to say something to myself back then, I'll say, bitch, listen. Listen the first time. Like, your dreams start today. They start with one decision. It's not a matter of I'm ready or I'm not ready. It's the willingness to take a step forward. If you think about it that way, you don't give yourself to be ready. When we are taking the present into consideration, and let's say we are unhappy with what is happening right now, what I would say to you is that you need to use that as fuel. I didn't take initiative to go through and overcome the emotional abuse that I received as a kid until I was about to do that. Like, it pushed me to the edge, to the point of like, I'm so tired of being so fucking miserable. And it forced me to look up a women's psychology place, and I just booked an appointment just there and then. And that changed my life. That was fuel. The pain was fuel if you see it as so. If nothing's happening, you have a blank canvas. You can do anything. It's just a matter of, what do you prefer to try? If you have everything and maybe there's too much going on, that's an opportunity to let go, to loosen up. When you want to change the state of what everything is into a state of let's move forward, let's change, let's progress, you cannot look at it from a lens of negativity. Because if you do, your perception is fucked, right? It becomes unsustainable. You will go for quick fixes. You will go for things that don't work for you because you're desperate. And nothing good ever comes from desperation. If you are even neutral, where you can go from here, even at your lowest low, you will see inherently more positive ideas in front of you. You will have more creative solutions. In a mind where you are so negative and it's fueled and rooted from desperation, misery, it's only to cover that up. It wasn't ever going to be for the bigger picture. To change that, you need to actively think and say to yourself, I'm in it for the big picture. I'm in it for the long term. Negative energy only looks at negative options. Positive energy, neutral energy, you're not judging either situation, but you're open to whatever. Positive energy only looks at positive options, or is aware of the negative options but chooses not to. It really does take a lot to dream big. There's a lot of sacrifices. There's, maybe you think of things that you could lose: safety, a job, the validation of others, because you're finally stepping into what makes you actually feel good, which sounds kind of crazy when you're actually like thinking about it like that. If I'm being true to myself and my friend feels some type of way that I'm speaking up more, I guess makes them uncomfortable, I should feel bad for them. Seeing it as so, once you get a taste of it, you'll instantly drop that shit. Instantly. I think it's one of the most satisfying things ever. I know that's right. Living in a society that wants you to be controlled, that wants you to eat the same as others, that wants you to do the same as others, go the same route as others, maybe in different fonts, but inherently it's the same thing, right? And of course that's for that's another topic within itself, but that's what a lot of societies ask for from their people. Honestly, not even ask. You live in that. I lived in that. A system. We perceive it in a way where creative people don't have a chance. you don't have a chance to make money. You can't sustain that. This is not a long-term thing. Maintaining and keeping up the standards of being so miserable when you go to work, when you wake up, questioning, what am I doing? That's what you think your life is. Being able to neglect certain thoughts, that's a lot. It's exhausting. It's tiring. And I feel you on that. Rules and regulations and almost just like a robotic system, it makes your dreams feel impossible, correct? But at the end of the day, you were taught to believe that. You were shown to believe that. Doesn't mean it's true though. A belief is just something that you think is true. It's not fact. Your dreams require you to think beyond your own capabilities. It requires you to think beyond what is around you. To have a successful business, sustainable, long-term, a scalable business, it requires you to go beyond your peers. Not in a greedy way, but that's just what it takes. Tap in and tune in to the questions, the experiences that are really presented in front of you to give yourself a chance. That's all it takes. Think outside the box. I don't believe that saying. The box never existed. There is no limitations when it comes to thinking creatively. Creative thinking is not just art. You can come up with creative solutions to logical problems. And those creative solutions are the things and the ideas that will make you go from mediocre to fucking excellent. And I've had many conversations where I say I'm a creative and it's like, I wish I was creative. You are. Being creative, the only requirement is to have an imagination. Everyone has an imagination. The only difference between where I sit today and this other person is that I have allowed myself to tap in, because that is where there are no limitations. There are no ceilings to my life, to my decisions, to my luck, to my opportunities, to the types of conversations I can have, to the types of people that I can come across, to the type of places that I can go to. And I think that's beautiful. Tune in, turn up. That's really what it is. Oh my God, this shit is making me I'm so smiley right now. If something is not working, you are still abiding by the rules. It's whoever's rules you were always playing by. There is truth, there is power within listening to yourself. And continuously listening to yourself, even though you may occur mistakes, because sometimes you're not right. And that's okay. But you need to figure that out, for the future. I did this, didn't work out. I didn't feel great. I won't do that again. That is your window to dream big, to be excellent, to be better than this current version of yourself. Even if you have to crawl yourself in there, it's the same door that was always waiting for you to just say hello. So remember, friends, dream big. Because what are you waiting for? Honestly, the simple things is what changes everything. Dream big, because who else will? I feel like there's an abundance of mediocrity, and if a more exciting life calls for you, you have to listen to that. You have to. I feel like if you don't, that is a form of self-sabotage, a form of abandonment, Everyone will judge you at the end of the day, but at the same time, so much people will support you at the end of the day. So many people will see eye to eye to you. That makes a difference. I feel like it's so helpful to witness other people, to show you that what you're thinking about, what you're dreaming about is real. Use that also as fuel to push yourself forward, to advocate for yourself more. But thank you so much for staying for my podcast. I thought I was going to do this in like 20 minutes. I don't think this is going to be 20 minutes, but I will see you guys in the next one. Ta-ta.